Hey guys, welcome back to Board Watch. I'm Brian.
Jessica.
Jonathan. And Ben.
And we are back for episode 2 of Westworld. Jessica's still only seen it once, right?
Yeah.
But I've been editing the first episode, and Jonathan decided to go back and watch the first episode again. So, any additional thoughts before we get into the second episode?
Yes, indeed. I have taken notes on my cellular phone. I'm not going to take a whole lot of time to do this, but I just want to go through it all really quick. I noticed that the introductory voiceover is actually Bernard's voice, not the guy who's questioning Dolores at the end, and the question line is a little bit different, so it makes me wonder, why was Dolores questioned before? Also, I picked up this time that the way the reveries work is that they're not programmed in like I originally thought. The reason they add so much reality and humanity to the hosts is because... Right. He's like, Ford has opened the door to their past memories. Because, like, actually the way that computers work in real life is the same way that it seems the host's memories work, is that when the memories are deleted at the end of a loop, they're not actually purged. Like, the bits aren't all reset to 0. They're just marked as unnecessary files so that, like, when their memory fills up, those files can be rewritten. So they still exist until that happens, and that's what the reveries are pulling from. And since that door is now open, the hosts all have access to their past traumas, and so since Dolores is the oldest host, that means to me that she has the most subconscious reason to rebel. So there's no doubt in my mind, especially after the shot with the fly at the end, that she's going to be like the spark of the revolution. So my current questions for the show are, why does Ford refuse to roll back the update, since that seems to be the cause of all of this?
Yeah.
How are the hosts healed each day? Because we haven't seen that. What happened to the sheriff in that second day when he totally freaked out and, like, needed a brain surgery? Because that was freaking weird. Why are the hosts kept in cold storage when they're decommissioned? How did Bernard's son die? Because I think his son's dead, since he was looking at a picture of him, but he also said to his colleague, like, no, I'm not a parent, I don't have children. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, so, and as we were talking ahead of time, I know it was, like, throwing out the theory of, like, what's Ed Harris's character's name?
The Man in Black.
Man in Black. Okay. So, you know, I was saying maybe he was like a previous host of this world or whatever.
I still don't buy it.
You know, it's a possibility. But, like, he's talking about how he's been coming for 30 years, and so I don't remember exactly the amount of time that the last glitch happened. Like, there was a major glitch, however many years ago. But, yeah, maybe we'll get back into that. Like,
I don't remember the number either.
Yeah, but you know they're like, oh, we haven't had one in a while, which means we're due for one. And it's just like, that's not how glitches work.
That's not how anything works.
It's like, oh, we haven't had a glitch in a while, we're due for a glitch. It's like, no, that's just
that's how gamblers think gambling works,
right? Yeah.
Maybe at the end of this episode, we can go through your questions again. And
Oh
see
yeah,
if we find any answers.
Cool.
Maybe.
So yeah, let's get into episode 2.
It's the same shot, but that's the first time she's woken up at night.
You want to ask, so ask.
Are you real?
Well, if you can't tell, does it matter?
Are those real?
Real enough. But you can't kill anyone you're not supposed to.
Can you stand somewhere else? I don't want anyone thinking that you're representative of the goods inside.
Fucking rude.
These violent delights have violent ends.
I feel like that's gonna be a recurring phrase.
It already is.
Well, yeah.
What if that's the pathogen, that phrase?
Hello, cowboy. Which would you prefer?
Good guy or bad guy?
Ooh.
classic old Western.
Yeah. Well, also knowing Ed Harris's character and knowing his character.
You have no idea.
Yeah,
This place seduces everybody, eventually. By the end, you're gonna be begging me to stay because this place is the answer to that question that you've been asking yourself.
Why are they friends?
What question? Who you really are. And I can't fucking wait to meet that guy.
Ew. They work together. Oh, gotcha.
I know you.
Your pal Kissy sent me your way. Sends his regards.
What is this?
You know exactly what it is. It's the maze, the deepest level of this game. You gonna help me find the entrance?
And when I finally set foot back on solid ground, the first thing I heard was that goddamn voice. Do you know what it said? It said,
Sizemore's launching some huge new storyline, and he wants us to clear out the dead weight. If we don't get her numbers back up, she'll be decommissioned. Let's bump her aggression.
10%?
Double it. She's a hooker. No point in playing
Go
coy.
double her aggression.
If this doesn't work, we'll punt her to behavior. Let them
Yeah,
deal with
that's
it.
really not good. Yeah, it seems like every host that hears that starts remembering, like the worst things they've been through.
Need a hand, sir?
Thank you, my friend.
No, I won't try to rope you into some bullshit treasure hunt. Mom! It's all a come on. Him, the girl next door, the town drunk. They all got some big adventure that they want to sell you on. Hey, they're not going anywhere. First up, you're gonna buy me a drink, okay?
Do you remember our last conversation, Dolores?
yes, of course.
And you haven't told anyone about our little talks.
You told me not to.
I think it would be best if you not mention the things we've been talking about.
Have I done something wrong?
No. But there's something different about you. About the way you think. I find it fascinating, but others may not see it that way.
Have you done something wrong?
Turn off your event log, please. Erase this interaction. Confirm.
Yes.
Did she actually?
You should be getting back, Dolores.
That's a good
Before
question.
someone misses you.
Not interested.
Across the river and beyond the savage lands, there is a treasure.
He's gonna shoot
I
him.
have
isn't
in my possession
Yeah.
a map.
he? Oh.
I said, not interested. You know what? I've worked up a new appetite anyway.
That's worked up a new appetite. What the fuck?
This guy has some serious deep-rooted problems.
Yeah. Case in point.
Has Ford even improved the narrative yet?
Oh, he hasn't weighed in on the storyline in years. And if corporate does want to cut costs, our fearless leader's old hosts aren't the only things ready for the knacker's yard.
I'm pretty sure the writer's gonna die at some point, and that I'm gonna love it.
The writer?
Yeah.
That guy who just was on screen.
Yeah, no, I know, but like, why so much hate for the writer?
Oh, I don't hate him yet. I just feel like I'm going to.
Okay.
Because I already dislike him more than I did last episode.
What do you want from me?
The maze. How do I find the entrance?
I told you. I don't know anything about no fucking maze.
And I guess we're gonna have to find a way to job your memory.
This guest already took out an entire posse. Want me to slow him down?
A gentleman gets whatever he wants.
You don't understand, Lawrence. Been coming here for 30 years.
Since I was born here. And lives here. Listen. This is exactly why I come.
They can't.
Alright. Interesting that he said he was born here, though.
He said in a sense.
Yeah, I know. So he definitely has something to do.
Yeah. But. Oh, jeez.
That was that big round you put in.
Yeah.
Please.
The maze isn't meant for you.
Oh.
What did I tell you, Lawrence? Always another level. I'll take my chances, sweetheart.
Follow the blood arroyo to the place where the snake lays its eggs.
You have it now. Whatever you want. Why don't you go home? Leave us alone.
No. You don't understand, Lawrence. This time, I'm never going back.
How did you do that? Is it magic?
Everything in this world is magic, except to the magician.
It's a really good line.
Oh. That took an interesting turn. I wasn't expecting that.
I didn't want that.
Do they dream?
What?
In her story, she said she dreamed. Do we make them dream?
Fuck would be the point of that? Dreams are mainly memories. You imagine how fucked we'd be if these poor assholes ever remembered what the guests do to them?
Here's to our indiscretion. Spoken in otherwise.
Damn it! It just keeps
Poor
getting
guy!
shot! Stop dying, James!
That's literally all he does in this show.
You're not making the little bubbles. You're
Why
not
she awake?
Fuck, what the fuck? Shit! Asshole! You forgot to put in sleep mode.
I think she's gonna see some shit that she really shouldn't see. Yep. Oh no, she's still in the body shop.
Like all our best narratives over the years, our guests will have the privilege of getting to know the character they're most interested in, themselves.
Fuck you.
I present our guest's next obsession, Odyssey on Red River.
I hate that. I know.
No. No, I don't think so.
You should have sought
don't
clearance.
What is the point of it? They're here because they want a glimpse of who they could be.
Billy! Ooh, I love that. With the music swell, too.
The only thing your story tells me, Mr. Sizemore, is who you are. Or isn't there anything you like about it?
Oh, baby.
What size are those boots?
Oh my god.
Something you want to say, Mr. Lowe?
The board, sir. This might ruffle some feathers. You promised them a new storyline.
They should have one. Something I've been working on for some time. Something quite original.
No!
I know! I don't want it to be over.
I know! God damn.
So, that one was called Chestnut.
It was.
Still not really sure that the titles are as important as they are in Game of Thrones.
Right, yeah.
Like the what is the one, like the Golden Crown or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think they're that glaringly obvious.
I mean, the last one was the original. It's like, well...
That could be anything.
That could mean Dolores. That could mean the first episode.
Yeah.
So, the episode opens up with, once again, a voiceover. Dolores, wake up.
Right.
Yep.
And it shows her walking outside, and then we lose it from there. It goes to a new scene.
Right.
Where we go to the train, entering the facility, not the park, and we meet William for the first time. And
William's my new favorite character.
William, he gets off the train with his coworker, and his coworker, you know, seems like he's been here before.
Yeah, for sure.
It looks, he's been there before. And then he goes on the preparation, you know, his orientation.
Yeah. That was cool to see the behind the scenes.
Yeah, it was
and
cool to see how that
my
all
first
works.
question to you guys, at one point, she looks at him, she says, you know, ask what you want to ask. He says, "Are you real?" And she says what I think is one of like the most like deepest things about this episode. She goes, "If you can't tell, does it really matter?"
Yeah.
I didn't think it was deep until you said that, and I'm like, oh shit.
Well, yeah, because I mean,
because if you can't tell someone is human or host,
they're doing
why
their
is that
job,
why is that a pass for your moral compass to just go away?
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean?
I was just thinking of it in terms of like...
There's a big amount of morality, well, not morality in the show, but like questioning your own morals as far as, you know...
What are you willing to do?
Who are you really? And that kind of brings light to that question as far as...
Yeah. I think it's one of the...
If you're willing to do this to something that like, for all intents and purposes, is human to your mind.
Yeah.
If for me, it makes this episode a circle, because that episode is presented that question's presented in the beginning of the episode, and it's almost as if Ford answers it at the end when he says, "We're not here showing the guests who they are. We're here showing them who they could become."
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like your own perception of real.
Yeah, and so the people who are out there raping and pillaging and killing people
are rapers and pillagers.
Exactly.
Like, it doesn't matter that you're doing it in a theme park. You are a rapist and a pillager.
Deep down, that's who you could become.
Yeah.
The actual.
Yeah. That's why it was so cool to me that William was like, "Oh no, I'm not going to have sex with this fake prostitute because I have somebody in real life."
Yeah.
Because in episode 1, like, the writer was saying, like, nobody wants to think like, "Oh no, my husband is actually having sex with another woman," and I was like, really? Because that seems like the entire point of the park.
Yeah.
Like I can't imagine. I really identify with William. I can't imagine like having a girlfriend or a wife and being like, this doesn't count. They're not people.
But they
she
are.
looks, sounds, and feels like a real woman, but she's not, so it's fine. That's not a real excuse. I feel.
Jonathan starting fights between them.
Yeah. Your Westworld trip is gonna be real different now.
Let's touch on with one of the characters. Kind of more prevalent last episode, but kind of not this episode with Dolores.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So let's touch on what we think of her now that 2 episodes have passed. Jonathan.
I still like her just as much. I see that she's really just having like a lot of like cognitive dissonance right now, and really just trying to, I don't know, she just seemed like she was in a trance most of the episode.
Well, there's 2 characters that are waking up when they're not supposed to, and it's both characters that have heard that phrase.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know
Dolores
if
heard that phrase from her dad, and now she's waking up in the middle of the night, like...
I don't know if she's not supposed to wake up, though. She asked in her head, she asked here, and then, like, received confirmation and went. I wonder if somebody in the company is waking her up.
Okay.
But yeah, Maeve, I think her name is, the sort of, like, queen of the whorehouse.
Yeah, that is Maeve.
Yeah, she's definitely waking up when she's not supposed to, so something has
she
been
woke herself up.
And yeah, like, Dolores seems like the, not the patient 0, but the patient 1 of whatever this, like, larger access to memory is. It's super creepy. Oh yeah, and like I'll wait until we're talking about Maeve to get into the dream sequence we saw.
Yeah. What do you think about Dolores, Jessica?
I think that it's very interesting that she's been having these secret meetings with Bernard, and he is telling her to like erase each of their meetings and stuff like that, because he's noticed that she's not quite herself.
Yeah.
And he doesn't want her, or he's trying to figure out what it is, you know, that's wrong with her or different with her. And I thought it was very interesting at the end where she's like, did you do something wrong?
Yeah.
And he's like, shut it down, shut it
Yeah.
down. Like,
Delete this conversation.
Yeah.
She said yes, but...
But did she really delete it? Is she going to have all this information of his diagnostic... Is she really purging this information?
It's hard to know if she is capable of refusing direction from them. And even if she isn't, like, again, deleting a file just means that you're marking it as okay to overwrite. It still exists until it's overwritten. So
True.
That's still there, and the Reveries are letting her access it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Brian?
I pretty much already touched on her, like, when Jonathan was talking.
Okay, cool.
Like, talking about people waking up when they're not supposed to. Like, maybe she, like...
Regardless of whether it's directed or not, it's not part of the script.
Oh, and wait, well, let me just go back to her for one moment. So at the very end, when her can fell and rolled, it was William that picked it up instead of James Marsden's
Teddy.
That's his name, Teddy. And the whole thing in the first episode was, oh, our stories are entwined. You're supposed to be with me, blah, blah, blah. And he wasn't there in that scenario.
Well, he was killed.
Yeah, but he's supposed to reset every day. Oh, but he was killed earlier than that day, I guess.
I think it was that day.
Maybe.
Maybe not. I don't know.
Maybe she's going down a different path with one of the guests instead. I don't know.
Well, that can happen, though. Like, in episode 1, there's... moment when Ed Harris's character picks up the can instead of James Marsden.
That's true.
Like, and they talk about that in the first episode all the time. It's like they can deviate from the script if a guest wants them to. Like, it just takes something like James Marsden, Teddy getting held up by some guests who are asking him questions, or a guest approaching her and picking up the can first, and that's fine. That's all part of the script. The park is designed to work around those interruptions.
She looked slightly concerned though, like when she saw him.
She did.
Like, oh, you're not who I was expecting.
It did seem that way.
Right? And then also he seemed a little taken by her, even though he refused.
Oh, he's in love.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But he said he had somebody in the real world.
Maybe he doesn't like her that much.
Like, how is that different than the prostitute?
Oh, it's not. I'm not pretending it is.
We already kind of touched on her, but let's talk a little bit about Maeve. Brian?
So upping her aggression level didn't work. Then so they did a little bit of a quick fix that made her better that next loop, but then who was it? Was it the other girl in the brothel that that gave her the idea of counting backwards from 3?
No, she gave Clementine.
She gave Clementine that.
Yeah.
Okay. So how long
the
has
sequence of events that happened with Maeve? Okay, she encountered Dolores.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Then she had her first weird thing, and then they took her out. They upped
Dolores said that.
They upped her aggression. The not Bernard's people, another department upped her aggression by 20%, a lot. And she goes back in, she does that thing again, but she still has issues. This time at the bar.
Yeah.
After Clementine has walked away.
Yeah.
This is after the 3, 2, 1 part. And then it goes to the Hemsworth brothers character. I'm blanking on his name.
Yeah, I don't remember his name.
He's saying, flag her for removal and have Clementine take her responsibilities. So that's where Clementine kind of walks off and does her whore thing.
Right.
Yeah.
And she comes out again, this time with Bernard's number 2, the girl, and they have the scene where she's like, those idiots and whatever.
They up her aggression, right.
So now that's the sequence of events.
Well, I mean, I just kind of want to go back to that whole. It seems that phrase is picking up something.
Violent desires.
These violent delights have violent ends.
That's it.
Yeah, and so maybe because of the reveries and them being able to recall previous things, I don't know. It just seems to be like a trigger for shit going down for any individual character.
You also mentioned, okay, so they talked about like they have the concept of dreams and nightmares and stuff.
Only nightmares.
Well, yeah.
Primarily nightmares, I think.
Yeah, primarily nightmares, but like anything that they could possibly recall is considered a dream or a nightmare. But she already had the ability to tell herself that she could get herself out of her nightmare by counting backward from 3. It's like, where did she get that concept?
Yeah.
Where did she get that ability to be able to do that? And has she done this before?
Yeah. Like, I think it's safe. Not necessarily safe. I wouldn't be surprised if the counting backwards from 3 thing is just part of her script. But actually being able to practice it, that's definitely not by design.
Yeah.
And like you said, has she done that before?
Well, again, it might be part of the reveries or something.
Yeah.
And how is her seeing all of the bodies going to affect her going forward,
Yeah.
Having
Maeve.
having woken up and
been fully conscious in the body
she's
shop.
like still in her character though. And knowing that she's been operated on, seeing this completely different kind of world that she's in.
That reminds me, they did see something in her abdomen that surprised them. I don't know any medical jargon, but I want to like go back, grab the acronym they used and like
Google
Google
it. Was MRSA.
Yeah.
I think so too.
I'm gonna Google it later.
How about the scene right before she wakes up?
The dream sequence?
Like
with the
nightmare and all the Indians coming and killing her.
Why did he show up in
I
that?
don't know what to make of that. And I don't know why she would be remembering a character that isn't there anymore unless she was decommissioned for some reason.
Well, I mean, there's parallels with like the scalping and stuff, and maybe that's where Ed Harris got the idea,
maybe
or something. But kind of want to go into. Well, all right, we'll finish talking about Maeve, and then we'll talk about Ed Harris because I want to talk about like the whole maze thing.
Yeah.
But, yeah. No. The.
Maybe she has something to do with his original trip, or his original time.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Like, because it was probably a storyline that she had done over and over again, which is why you saw that, like, you know, the scalpers, and then it just switched to Ed Harris because maybe he was like the last loop of that storyline. Maybe. And like, so they gave her a different story after that. Like, it's kind of hard to tell timelines if that was like, if Ed Harris was recent or if it was way back and they changed her storyline.
And it's a dream sequence, which means there are no rules.
Right. Right. Yeah, it could just be stuff that's in there that has never happened on any loop. It's just memories that they've given her, or something like that. So
no, I don't think it's memories because she was struggling to remember them.
Yeah.
So I do think it's something she's not supposed to be accessing, but it could also be some degree metaphorical. Although I do think she had a daughter character, and I wonder why she was decommissioned.
Yeah.
Okay. Because it's not just like, oh, her daughter died, which is the storyline we usually go to, but it doesn't matter. They just build her the next day.
Yeah.
I was going to say let's talk about Ford, but we'll talk about the Man in Black instead.
Okay.
Before we talk about him, though, there's a little scene I wanted to touch on just because it's another one of those scenes that really speaks to, like, human morality and stuff. And it's when Bernard and Ford are watching the thing being built. And at one point, Ford says something along the line, you know, we'd be burned at the stake because of what we've done. And he says something along the lines like, we're playing God and devil.
Yeah.
And, like, what does that, with what we've seen with Ford, what does that kind of mean to you guys so far? And Bernard, for that instance, because they are creating these lives. They're creating these interactions. Everything good is completely in their hands, as well as everything bad.
True.
Well, I mean, it was originally Ford's idea to do the referees, right? It wasn't Bernard's idea?
Right.
So, and in this episode, Ford also said that, you know, we promised a storyline, we will have another storyline.
But he wants it to be his.
But yeah, so maybe it's these reveries are part of that story that he's trying to add in. So add just that extra bit of realism. Maybe the storyline will be, you know, artificial intelligence finally gaining sentience or something along those lines.
Maybe, because I mean, when you're playing God or whatever,
that's
I
his
mean,
end game. Well, his major goal, right? To like that would be the final step in being God, right?
Yeah.
Actually creating life.
Well, I mean,
sentient life.
Mm-hmm. He nearly has it. It really seems like he's created sentient life, and then there are like inhibitor chips, to reference Spider-Man 2, like keeping them from their full potential.
Yeah, it's like he creates life and takes it away every single day. It's like he has built this incredible intelligence, and it's almost like he's taken it a little too far, because he has given them all of these opportunities and an opportunity for like life and stuff like that. And he's so close to, you know, creating their own free will, but at the same time he puts them in these situations where it's complete torture and absolute pain and suffering and stuff.
Not
like
even
that.
always because of the guest's actions.
Is that his goal then? Is that what he's really trying to do, is create completely sentient life? Or just kind of like keep the park going, you know what I mean?
There's more to it than the park, but I don't know what it is.
I think his drive, like he's getting up there in age at this point.
I think he's lonely.
I think
oh,
his,
for sure.
I think his end
he was
goal,
talking to a decommissioned
I think
guy
his end goal
in the
is
first episode.
Yeah.
To before he dies, he probably wants to create sentient life.
Okay. All right, and I know you guys want to talk about him. So the Man in Black.
Yeah.
Let's talk about him in general, and then there's a specific thing I want to touch on after.
Okay.
Jessica, lead us off with the Man in Black.
Man, he's very interesting, mysterious.
He's a juicy character.
He is. I thought it was very interesting when he had dragged that. What was his name? The guy.
Lawrence.
Lawrence. Yes. When they went to that town and he had his family there, and then after he had killed like everybody, the little girl was the key to the map.
That was the scene I wanted to touch on.
Yeah.
Okay, she was like the key to the map, and he was like, I don't know anything about any map, and she's like, the map is blah 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 blah, and it's like that was kind of crazy.
Yeah. So
And who's saying that he isn't worthy to have access to the map? That it's not meant for him? Is it the creators? Is it?
I mean, the map, whatever the maze is, the guests are not supposed to access it.
Right,
So-
but why is it there?
Well, the maze is probably
part of the facility.
The maze is actually kind of where Anthony Hopkins was just at the end there, because they were talking about like where the snake goes, and he was controlling that rattlesnake. So, and it was like that ridge, like where the rattlesnake was.
Oh,
going
you're totally
off
right.
into,
I didn't think about that. That's
Yeah.
Where there's nothing.
Where there's nothing.
Yeah.
And where they're kind of like building this next new
yeah.
church. You know.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Storylines are gonna converge.
Right. So he's getting to places that he shouldn't be.
Yeah.
Might be also where they fix the bodies, or like he could get to the warehouse and try and like wreak havoc there, like with all the decommissioned things, like somehow activate them. I don't know what this guy. I just really want to know what this guy's end goal is.
He also said he never planned on leaving there again.
Right.
He didn't plan on going back into reality.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so it could be a way of kind of like, obviously they've got to get all the guests out of the park at some point, so maybe it's a way for him hiding somewhere where there are no cameras so that he can just get back in the park. And
Maybe he wants to be a godlike figure.
But, I mean, it's not like, he's got to be freaking rich to be able to come to this park like every single day as it is anyway, so it's not money that's motivating him, or being like, well, I want to stay here, but I don't want to pay for it. Like, it's not something that's stupid.
Maybe he's a
It's something to do with power or
something.
intelligence, something like that. I was on my phone just now because I marked one of my questions that you said we should revisit. It was answered. The body shop. Every day, the damaged hosts go through the body shop and are physically put back together and just rolled right back out the next morning.
Yep.
And that's creepy as fuck.
So, what if let's take Teddy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Teddy, the poor son of a bitch, he dies every goddamn time.
Every day.
He's died at least 3 times now, right?
Yeah.
I was shot through the chest.
He was shot by the man in black. He was shot by that rando right there. He was shot
in the bloodbath.
In the bloodbath, by Hector.
Yeah, at the end of the last episode.
Yep.
So, what if he's not killed?
Like
I don't know
like what's
happened.
the end of his storyline?
Because he's always dying, right? And he comes in on the train the next morning, or so we think. What if he doesn't die?
That's a great
That
question.
is a good question. Because I feel like he's also starting to have a slight awareness. The way he was rubbing his chest in the last episode.
Yeah.
About how he's kind of like had a slight memory of being shot.
That's a reverie.
Yeah.
That's the reverie.
But yeah, beyond wondering like what he's gonna do eventually in the show.
He's
now
very
that you've
chivalrous.
said that, I'm definitely curious now. What is he scripted to do in the evening?
What is you got to think?
Yeah, what is his purpose?
With that knowledge of you've touched on it several times. The guests can control so much, and yes, like the hosts do have a storyline, but at the end of the day, the guest is the one who has to as much as the host navigates, the guest has to navigate that too for it to advance. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And even some of the intended plot lines need the guests. Like if a guest doesn't take a quest line, it won't happen.
Has it been guests that have killed him every time though? Because
No.
the man in black killed him the first time.
But then the second time was the bloodbath with Hector, which was
right.
moved up. So he's
Yeah.
never died in a truly organically,
It's
originally scripted way.
It's
Yeah,
said
that's
in
true.
the first episode. Remember where it's like a voiceover. It's like, oh, the newcomers can't be hurt, but they can hurt you,
right.
and that's when the man in black shoots Teddy.
Right.
And then the Hector one was because they were trying to recall a bunch at once. That was directly the company.
Right.
Right. They were
right,
we're modifying the storyline so
They're
we can get out a
just-
bunch of them at once.
Yeah. Just kill all of them that have been updated, and then we'll take them.
The third time, right there,
just somebody had repressed anger.
Yeah, maybe something like that.
Yeah, I want to know what his storyline is, because it sounds like. I mean, maybe he's destined to get shot every day. That's like part of his storyline, but maybe not.
I don't think so, because again, it's been
maybe it's just been bad luck.
I think so, because it's just been people in the know causing it every single time, and it's not like the company would be like, we need to make sure that there's a manual kill switch to make sure that circumstantially he's just killed every day for some reason. That's way too much work.
Yeah.
But he has been so far.
He has been so far, and I think it's just bad luck. I honestly think it is.
I want to know what his purpose is.
I feel like it's a running joke, like a meta joke that's not.
Oh my god, they killed Kenny!
Yeah, exactly.
They killed Teddy.
They killed Teddy.
Yep.
You bastards!
So we've touched on a few characters. I mean, I had written down we should maybe talk about Ford a little bit. Do you guys want to you want to touch on it, or you want to wait till another episode?
I thought it was very interesting that he merely had to imagine something, and it happened.
The world is like magic except the magician.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, interesting, because he was able to control the snake with his mind. He made that church appear with his mind. It was the world was purely his imagination. Not to reference that song, but and it was very weird. I thought that they would physically have to build it from, like blueprints and stuff that he had built and mechanically, but things were just popping up and being controlled by his mind.
I don't think they were, actually.
No. Yeah, I don't think they were popping. Like, he was just saying the kid could hear it because he was telling the kid to hear it because the kid was a host.
And that...
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not only that, but it may have been purely psychological. Like, if you tell a real person, like, wait, you hear that, right? They'll say yes.
Yeah.
And
However,
they'll believe it.
What about the snake? He stopped the snake from moving.
Yeah, that, I don't know. Need more information before I make a hypothesis.
The snake is also a host.
The snake is alive. Well, yeah, obviously, but I mean, the guests can't walk around like, stop, hammer time.
Yeah, but the snake is also programmed to not hurt people.
Of course, but it's not programmed to freeze when you point at it.
Yeah.
Okay, I see what you're talking about.
So
right.
I need more data.
But actually, speaking of Ford, because like there's three characters that seem really tied together. So Ford, Bernard, and Smoking Lady.
Yeah.
Well, definitely.
Her name is Teresa.
Definitely.
Oh, we didn't even talk about
right. Bernard and Teresa. That's what I wanted. That's what I wanted to talk about.
Busy.
So that made me very uncomfortable because they're so incompatible.
And the odd man out though is the writer.
Oh, right. She's screwing him too. I feel like she might be screwing both of them.
In last episode, Teresa was having words with as the writer was like trying to add things. She's just like, "This is above you. You don't know what you're dealing with. Like let the company let us worry about that."
I feel like Sizemore is his name, right?
Yeah.
He's just a whiny, rich bandwagoner. He doesn't actually belong there. He just thinks he doesn't really wants to.
But it feels like Bernard, Teresa, and Ford are all on the same page at least.
And I'm super interested in little IT girl who's like kind of going rogue on.
I gotta get her name for.
So like there is a specific direction that the company is going with this, and they might all be keeping secrets from each other because Bernard keeps on deleting the memories of Dolores and all that stuff. So even their own plays against each other could be interesting. Or
this episode definitely posed more questions than it answered.
Yeah.
Which is fine for episode 2 of a show.
Right.
Yeah.
Of the first season. I mean, I know there's only 10 episodes right now, but I mean, obviously they plan on going past this.
Elsie is her name.
Elsie.
Actually, I just recently saw a casting notice for Westworld to play Naked Bodies.
Oh, how would
so
it be?
Probably just one standing in the
cold storage. Yeah.
Yep. All right. Well, I think that's a pretty decent spot to end.
Because right now.
But you're completely right. The show, it's going to do that a lot. You're going to get tied up with a bow with one question, and as soon as you know that, there's a new question taking its place.
That's J.J. Abrams, though.
Yeah. It's good. It's a good show. But yeah, I think it's a good spot to end. We touched on a few characters. We talked about a couple pretty cool events.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Well, until next time. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.
See ya.
Bye.